All right, good evening. Well, my name is Allie Smith. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Admission here at Villanova University. I am also a very proud graduate of the class of Liberal Arts and Sciences 2011. On behalf of our university, I want to wish you congratulations on your admission to the class of 2025. Well done. And while I know, those of you joining us this evening are at various stages of your decision-making process and where you'd like to attend college this fall, I hope that tonight will be really helpful as you finalize your choice. Tonight, our session will be all about the sciences side of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. I am joined by 3 of my colleagues from the college, along with 5 of our current students, and they are all excited to share with you their Villanova stories. But that being said, tonight is for you. We want to discuss all the topics of interest on your mind and questions that you may have. You'll see at the bottom that there's a Q&A box. I encourage you to submit your questions throughout. I'll pose them to our panel. Feel free to ask questions generally or to a specific person. Like I said, this is about you. So since we have a large crowd here tonight, we've opened it up so you can see everyone's questions. Feel free to upvote the ones that are most interesting to you, and the most popular ones will rise to the top to be discussed. So let's get started. I'm first going to introduce our faculty and staff members. We have Dr. Kevin Minbiole, Professor and Chairperson of Chemistry, and Trail from our Health Professions Advising, and Dr. Chrissy Winterton from our Faculty Advising for Exploratory Sciences. So Chrissy, if you want to introduce yourself first, we'll get this started.
Sure. So thank you for having me here, and it's nice to meet everybody. So I started at Villanova this past year, and I am the faculty advisor for exploratory science students, as well as a faculty member in the biology department here. So exploratory sciences is probably what you're thinking about as undeclared science at other institutions. So if you come in and you know you have an interest in science, but you're not quite sure which pathway you want to go in, or maybe you have some AP credits from high school that you kind of want to try some other things with or see if you like it at the college level, you would most likely be assigned with me, and I would be your academic advisor for your first year. And we would choose classes based on your interests, get some core requirements in, but let you really explore the sciences and figure out which side you like to be on. And then you would declare a major in the sciences from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being here. Dr. Minbiole, would you like to go next?
Thanks, Allie. So good evening, science enthusiasts. I'm Kevin Minbiole, Department Chair in Chemistry. One of our many majors, and we got a couple of chems here. The Department of Chemistry co-runs the biochemistry major too, alongside biology. So we're delighted to have you all here, and hopefully we can answer some great questions.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. And best for last. Oh, and you're muted.
Message. There we go. All right. That's a common phrase these days, isn't it? You're muted. My name is Ann Trail, and I am one of two health professions advisors here on campus. Together with my colleague, Dr. Louise Russo, we do advising for students who are interested in any health professions that require a graduate degree. So medicine, pharmacy, physical therapy, you can think of a lot of them, I'm sure. I work mainly with freshmen and sophomores. And if you come in and you're interested in health professions, I will be the person that you will be meeting with and talking to. We work with people at all levels of interest. So you could just be, gee, health professions is one thing I'm interested in, but I'm not sure. You're welcome to come and be part of our advising community and talk to us, to explore. And then people who are really dead set on something and very focused. So we see everybody. And I look forward to seeing you, hopefully in person in the next fall.
Thank you so much for that. And all right, we're going to go through our students and we're going to do this kind of popcorn style. So we'll start with Jessica, and Jessica, you can pick the next person. And so for each of you, if you could just give, your name, major, and then most importantly, why Villanova and why sciences.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Jessica Huar. I'm a freshman chemistry major. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA. Yeah, Dr. Minbiole, thumbs up. But I chose Villanova because I came from a smaller high school environment, and it was a place where I thrived, and I knew I would do well in a small, individualized college environment as well. So Villanova's small class sizes and individualized professor attention really drew me to that, and especially the chemistry program. I was amazed by how invested and involved the professors were with their students, how engaging they were, and that sealed the deal for me. So, James, go ahead.
Right on. Hi, everyone. My name is James Dunbar. I am a third year from Fairfax, Virginia. I'm an environmental science and geography double major. I chose Villanova. I was actually torn between a local state school and Villanova. But after coming to our admitted students day and sitting where you guys are, I was blown away both by the science programs that we have here, but along with the liberal arts education. I have not regretted it for one bit. I think that's definitely put me ahead of other candidates looking for internships and jobs. I currently have an internship, and I don't think I would have had it had I not been, for the supportive staff from the small class environments and at all the other awesome opportunities that Villanova has afforded me. So, and I'm gonna popcorn to Sarah.
Thanks, James. Hey guys, I'm Sarah. I'm also a junior at Villanova. I'm a bio major from Erie, Pennsylvania, and I chose Villanova. I was also between two schools, and like James, I came to the accepted students day and immediately I felt at home on campus, and I loved talking to students, kind of getting to know them, which is what you guys get to do tonight. Getting like that firsthand experience and hearing from them, that really helped me out. And I'm gonna popcorn to Eileen.
Hi guys, I'm Eileen Park, and I'm a sophomore chemistry and biochemistry double major, math minor. Let's go, Dr. Minbiole. And I'm from North Jersey, and I also chose Villanova because of the accepted candidates day. I got to meet everyone in person. Everyone was just so nice, but I realized during my time, it's my second year at Villanova, everyone in the science program has been so helpful. They reach out to you. They really care about you, like the faculty, your classmates, and the staff too. They're just so kind. And so my love for the chemistry department specifically, but also the science department just grew over time. So that was great for me. And I'll pass it on to Kunj.
Hi guys, my name is Kunj. I'm also a sophomore and I'm a bio major. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I chose Villanova for an array of reasons. One also being the acceptance students day, which was at the candidates day. That was a great experience. I got to meet a lot of prospective students and faculty in the bio department, as well as just seeing all the clubs on campus when it was in person. It was a nice experience and I just felt very welcome. But along with that, I feel like a lot of my peers and mentors here have also said that Villanova is very focused on having small classes, and that's a big deciding factor for me because I came from a high school where it was kind of like a medium size. So I wanted to be in an environment where I got some individualization and attention in a way. So those are a few reasons why I came to Villanova, and I hope you too as well.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Wonderful introduction. So let's get started with some questions. So the first one, we've got a lot of upvotes for this, has to do with research opportunities. The question is, what research opportunities are available to specifically freshmen? Can you get involved in research during your freshman year? Does anyone want to talk or speak to research opportunities for freshmen? Eileen, I think I saw your hand first. Jessica, we'll go to you next.
So last year as a freshman, we did get kicked off campus a little bit earlier, spring semester. So that was really upsetting for me, but we have this wonderful thing called the match program at Villanova, here at Villanova, and you don't even have to be a science student to be able to apply for the match program. So it's basically you go to a fair and all the professors will have their research on display and you'll be able to read about what they're researching, and you might be able to find a couple that you're interested in and be applied to be a student who does research under that professor. And I think it's a great opportunity, but also you don't specifically have to limit yourself to just a match program. A lot of times I found I could go to my professor after class or before class and ask him about his research or about her research and possibly shadow the lab for a week or two. And if I did really enjoy it, I could join the lab if there was enough space. So I think for freshmen, there are plenty of research opportunities, whether you're a science major or not.
Great. Thanks so much, Jessica. Eileen. Jessica, I believe you wanted to answer next. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I can jump into that because I was fortunate enough as a freshman student to obtain a research position first semester. So I'm working with Dr. Boyko in the chemistry NMR lab right now, which is a blast. He's a lot of fun. But Eileen talked about the match program, which is a more formal way that students can get involved in research. You know, you apply for the position, well, you hear about all kinds of different positions first and then apply. My position came about in a little bit of a more informal way. Our freshman chemistry professor, Dr. Paul, he was able to organize a few little Zoom calls towards the beginning of the semester. And so a lot of the professors in the chemistry department, I'm pretty sure almost all of them, stopped by for about an hour or so on Tuesday afternoons. And they each got to give us their little spiel about what they do, you know, if they're looking for students. And then Dr. Boyko actually reached out to Dr. Paul a few weeks later and was like, I'm still looking for students. And so that's how I ended up with a position in his lab. And it's been really great. I've noticed that a lot of what the professors focus on in the chemistry department is the experience. It's getting to work with the machines, you know, getting to understand how this equipment works, how, you know, proper lab procedure and attire and all kinds of things like that. And so they're really, I know all of you high school students are coming from a bunch of different backgrounds. You might have had a lot of lab experience in high school. You might have not had so much, especially, you know, doing your senior year online. So the professors are willing to, you know, walk you through it step by step and teach you everything you need to know. So it's been a lot of fun and I look forward to continue working with him.
Thank you so much. That is wonderful to hear. Lots of great experiences all around. So the next question we have, and you might be the best one to answer this one. The question is about, you know, acceptance percentages to medical school and kind of the path, what that looks like, what's popular for students to look for when going forward.
Okay. Well, you know, that is a complicated question to answer, and I'll try to not make the answer too long. The easy answer is that for medical school, it depends from year to year, but our acceptance rate is about 60 to 70%. Nationally, it's about 44% right now. But I believe that that's the wrong question. I have worked at a variety of institutions. When I first came out of graduate school, I worked at a small liberal arts college. Then I moved on to a large flagship state university where I was pre-health advisor for many, many years. And now I'm here at Villanova, which is a mid-sized private. And in my experience, it's not, although we would love to take the credit, it's not the school that gets the student into medical school. I mean, the school plays a part, but you have, you know, the students also play a part. I would love to take credit for all the admissions, but the students do the work. So what I see as being important is the fit between the student and their institution. You need to be in a place where you thrive, because otherwise you're not going to reach out for challenge. You're not going to reach out for opportunity. Students who are not happy at their institutions do not excel. And so the fit is different for every student. And that's what I urge you to think about when you're looking at where you're going to go, is how well you fit. Because if you fit well, you're going to challenge yourself, you're going to reach out for opportunities, you're going to learn how to do all kinds of different things. And you will be a much more well-developed, well-rounded candidate and a much stronger candidate. So that's my advice. We can all give you percentages, but I would say choose the school where you choose the fit, because the percentage doesn't tell you whether or not you're going to be in the happy end of the percentages. But I think the fit does. So that's my 2 cents on that. It also varies. We have 100 students roughly that apply to professional school every year. So you can imagine, and they're not all pre-med. We have about 80 that apply that are pre-med. And so a difference of 5 or 10 students from one year to the next is going to make a fluctuation in the percentages. So that's one thing. Another thing to think about is that we have a health professions advising office. Many schools do. I would urge you to go to a place that does, because pre-health advisors belong to a national association that includes advisors from around the country, but also the admissions people from these professional schools and the people who design the exams like the MCAT and the DAT. So we have conferences, we have a private listserv, we get a lot of really accurate information that we can share with our students. So that's an important thing. And then we provide a committee letter when you apply to medical school or dental school or physical therapy school, which is an additional letter beyond the letters of recommendation that contextualize your growth over 4 years. Some schools will require that you have a certain GPA and MCAT score, or they won't provide that letter for you. We leave that up to you. We provide the letter. We don't have a cutoff. We do give you advice. We do think you should tell you if we think you should wait a year to apply, but if you want to apply, we support you. Some schools will not write the letter if you don't meet certain metrics. And guess what that does to your admissions stats, right? So that's why you want to take all these numbers with a little bit of salt. Okay, where do students go? Students go mostly to the Northeast, schools in the Northeast, because that's where our students are from, and people tend to want to be close to home. When you're in medical school, after the first year, you typically don't get like a long winter break or anything, and people don't want to have to spend a lot of time flying to get home from winter break when they only have 2 or 3 days. So students tend to go locally. Another little tidbit, and then I'm gonna pass on to the next question because I don't want us to get too into the weeds here. State schools are cheaper, and they give a heavy preference to in-state residents. Some state schools, I'm talking about public state supported schools, the preference for in-state residents is so high, they might only take 1% of out-of-state applicants. So students will often choose their state school because you come out with much lower loans to pay back, and you have a heavy preference in admission. So we have students that are frequently not from the Northeast that will go back and go to school in their local states. So most of ours are from the Northeast. Most of ours get into schools in the Northeast, but that's because most of our students are from the Northeast. So I hope that answers most of the question anyway.
That was amazing, and I personally learned a lot, so that was really helpful. Thank you so much. So the next question is for my friends in biology. Maybe Chrissy, you want to lead off with this one. Question is, could you please talk about what a freshman class schedule might look like for a biology major? I know we have some biology students in here. Maybe they want to weigh in as well. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So it's going to depend on if you're coming in with any AP credits, but let's just go very general here. So if you're accepted as a bio major, you're going to be placed in Gen Bio Part 1. You're going to be placed in Gen Chem Part 1, and both of those are a lecture and a lab for a total of 4 credits. You're also going to be in a math. So if you aren't coming in with any AP credits, you'll be in Calc 1 likely. We also have a statistics option for biology majors, but you'll work with your advisor on that one. So you're in 2 sciences and a math, and then those are for your major, right? That's your STEM classes. Now, to graduate from Villanova, you need to take more classes than just what's in your major. You need to take something called core requirements to graduate. So your first year, everybody will be in a unique class to Villanova, ACS 1000, which is Augustinian Culture Seminars. So you'll be in that, and I'll let the students talk a little bit more about that and their experiences in it. So that will be your 4th class. And then likely your 5th class will be another course to complete these requirements to graduate. And since you're all science majors coming into the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, you need a language requirement to graduate. So you need to show proficiency up through a certain point in languages. So it's very likely that your 5th class will be a language. So now if you have AP Math, AP Bio, AP Chem, AP Language, you could substitute one of those 5 for a different graduation requirement, or maybe you're thinking about a minor, or you're interested in psychology, you could take Intro to Psych. But generally, you'll be in a math, likely Calc 1, Gen Chem, Gen Bio. You'll definitely be in ACS 1000, that's unique to us, and likely a language.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any of my biology students want to just talk a little bit about their first year experience?
I can talk about it. My freshman year, I wasn't placed into a math, so I was taking philosophy, ACS, Spanish, and I was taking Gen Chem and Gen Bio. So honestly, it really just depends on what you're already put into. Like, you can't really choose your first semester. So, whatever your schedule is made out to be, that's what that's the classes you're going to be taking, unless you add or drop them, and it just depends on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it basically. Just wanted to add that.
Great, thank you so much. Okay.
I just had one thing I wanted to add when you talk about the gen eds, like Gen Chem and Gen Bio. I feel like a lot of people might think, oh, that sounds like a big class size. But especially for Gen Chem, one of the things I really loved about Nova was we had these recitation sessions. So your class is going to break down into, you have a lecture 3 times a week, and then you have your 4th class, your recitation. And it takes your group down from like maybe a larger lecture size to just a small group of you, like I think less than 20, usually around like 15-ish. And that was nice because it gave you time face to face with your professor. They get to know you. You get to work on problems. And that was where a lot of the individual attention that I was looking for when I came to Villanova kind of came out. And I really appreciated that, especially freshman year.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. That's very helpful. Next question that we have kind of rising to the top is about changing majors. I'm not sure if any of you have changed majors within sciences since you've been here. Anybody? Any of my students? No? Oh, Eileen. Yeah.
I haven't changed majors, but I've like definitely like added. I came in as just like a chemistry major, but I've added like a biochemistry double major and a math minor. I think at Villanova especially, I think it might be easier for you to change majors within the science majors, because freshman year you're taking a lot of your like core requirements. You're not taking like heavy science classes or heavy math classes. So you just have to sit down with your advisor and talk about what needs to get done. And you have until the end of your sophomore year to decide which major you want to end up pursuing. So I've sat down with both of my advisors and talked about like which direction might be the best way. So I don't think changing majors within the sciences are going to be too difficult. Obviously, the further you get to like through college, it's going to be harder. But freshman year, early sophomore year shouldn't be too rough. And your advisors are probably going to be so helpful. That's all I have.
Yeah, if I could also speak to that too. My one piece of advice to all you seniors, please try hard on your AP exams. I wish I tried harder. I came in with 3 credits. Villanova on their website has like the scores you have to get in order to receive credit. So take a look at that, to gauge your studying and how much you should study. Please study. But also build off that. For my department, we are environmental science and geography. So my 2 majors are very closely linked. So for me, I really have a hard time with time management in terms of I'm gonna need to take an excess amount of courses or take some over the summer. I know some students in order to get to the graduation requirement, they might need to budget in like 1 class over the summer if they are behind. But within the sciences themselves, a lot of the sciences are close enough, whether it be electives or cross departments. So chemistry, biochem, biology, that it is very easy to get success through a double major. It does take some time and to sit down and understand, am I willing to put in the work? But once you are and you put your head down, it's a very rewarding experience, I would say.
I actually wanted to add one more thing. My chemistry requirements actually covers the entire chemistry requirements for biochemistry, which is why I chose to double major in biochemistry as well, because I am also on the pre-med track, which requires me to take so many bio classes when I'm a chemistry major. So I was like, you know what, I might as well go for the second major, And a lot of the major specific classes, once you get to like junior, senior year of college, a lot of them might overlap with some of your minors. It's like I'm a math minor and we take physical chemistry junior year as a chem major, and that is actually counts as an elective for my math minor. So I'm actually done with my math minor next semester.
Yeah, just kind of to go off of that, I can also speak to the way that the curriculum, especially the well-rounded, how being under the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, you get that liberal arts side to your sciences education, and that's part of your requirements. So I think I forgot to mention this in my intro, but with my Spanish minor, I'm also a philosophy minor and a bioengineering minor. And a lot of that has kind of arisen from, oh, you know, to finish a course or requirement, I need this class. And if I take 2 more, I have the minor. So just kind of looking in that, especially when you sit down, I don't know who it was that said your advisors are so helpful. They really are. Like, it's such a resource to utilize, because sitting down with mine, I was really able to make a plan to best use my time here at Villanova.
Yeah, and your advisors will also definitely be able to help you if you do come in with credits, to understand what you would be able to check the box with. So you could supplement it with an additional elective within your department, or you could also take fun like dance, socio classes, arts, humanities, to explore like the liberal arts education that we have. They can also help with, I know there's a question here about graduating early. If you do come in with enough credits, I think it's about 32 hours is a typical freshman year. That would be equivalent, and they can put you on a track to get you out in 3 years if that is something that you're interested in.
Great. Lots of hot tips in there. That's great. Yeah, definitely. Villanova's kind of place where if you have questions, you're always going to find someone who can help you out and give you some answers. It's kind of a hallmark. So this next question I will actually take. Question is about, comments around Accepted Students Day and kind of how are we going to be able to get a feel for Villanova without kind of that in-person option right this second. We are working really hard to kind of find a way to be able to have some sort of in-person opportunity for all of you in April, if that is, possible. For those that are comfortable, we'd love to, find a way to have that opportunity. If not, or if, traveling to us is not, for you or going to work for you, we are still going to be offering more virtual events. Our social media has, really kicked up another notch. So between Instagram, TikTok, which is new for us, definitely come find us online. And hopefully I will have some good news for you as we, approach April. But, we want to keep everyone safe and we want to, have you guys get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, Allie, I'm sorry. If I can also add on to that.
Please.
I made my decision to commit to Villanova last year in the midst of the beginning of this whole thing, sight unseen. So I did not visit Villanova before I made my decision, and I'm so lucky that it worked out the way it did. But I would say to you seniors to really use the resources that Villanova provides for you, the online tours, these Zoom calls, these webinars. They were incredibly helpful in making my decision. If you know what course of study you want to pursue, I guarantee you there's a faculty member that will speak to you about what your 4 years will look like if you want to take a look into that. So it might take a little bit of extra initiative, but you can definitely make it work. So.
That's great, Jessica. Thanks so much for saying that. Really appreciate it. So next question. I don't think we have anyone here that has studied abroad, but maybe you have a friend or know someone or had plans to study abroad. If anyone wants to speak to study abroad opportunities for science majors, Chrissy, thank you so much.
So with the exploratory sciences, I have a lot of freshmen and sophomore students, and this question always comes up. And what I found out is our study abroad department, there is a staff member there specifically working on this. So his name is Levi Brodigan, and he is more than willing to chat with any student. So like everybody's been saying, everybody is really willing to help you here and answer questions. And the study abroad department, I know they're in the midst of making a catalog of what majors can go where and what classes, and it's turning into like a big database and what is offered abroad that department chairs will accept as part of the major, even if that's not really standard Villanova, right? Like it's really flexible and they're really working on growing it. So I have really high hopes for that. And just like we've all been saying, they're really happy to speak with you no matter what stage of planning, right? Like if you just say, hey, I think it might be cool, but I don't know because of COVID, they'll still sit down with you and say, well, if you save this requirement for when you're abroad, that would be great. So maybe you take something else now. And they are, they're working really hard to have more opportunities for science students.
And I can chime in on behalf of chemistry. It's up to about 50% of chemistry majors that do go abroad in a real good year. Obviously, the fall of 2020 was not normal. But likewise, I'm the one who signs off if a biology major goes to Dublin and takes a chemistry class there. We double check that it's an okay enough class, and sometimes when you're abroad, you're able to knock out a science elective or science requirement when you're over there too. It can happen.
Just going off of that, I wanted to say first, I was working with Levi, and before my abroad got canceled, this is where I was supposed to go, Madrid. The abroad office was so incredibly helpful in like planning things. As a bio major, I was planning to stay completely on track. I had a physics class, I had laid out a medical Spanish course, lots of things that were not only supplementing my curriculum, but actually like following right through with it. So it made it very easy to stay on track while also get to have that experience almost.
I also was planning on going abroad the summer after my freshman year, but obviously like this whole pandemic canceled everything. But while I was planning to go abroad, I was actually supposed to do research at the university that I was studying at abroad. So if you talk to like professors and like the study abroad people, the office, they're so helpful. They give you like so many flyers and like contact numbers that you can call. And I've had like countless meetings with different professors talking about what I could do and what my options were. So I think studying abroad is a possibility. It's just, you just have to sit down and talk to people about it.
The theme of this, ask the question, you'll get the answer. That's awesome. Thanks, everyone. So this next question, we've touched on it a little bit, but it concerns double majoring at Villanova and how kind of easy, difficult that might be to do. So I think, James, you have a double major. I think that's, and Eileen, you might too. If you want to speak to that experience a little bit, and maybe, there's a reference to being connected. It's definitely a lot easier to double major within your academic colleges, so within sciences rather than across academic colleges, but not impossible, more doable to major and minor across academic colleges. So I'll just say that before we dive in. But James, you look like you want to take it away for me.
Yeah, I think you said perfectly. You can double major with anything you want. At the end of the day, you just have to make sure you are going to graduate in 4 years. And so sitting down with your advisors, they'll be able to help you and plan out, like semester by semester. I sit down with my advisor and I identify like the 5 classes I'll take, or if I want to take 6, if I'm feeling extra fun that semester. And I think it just comes down to time management. I do not really think it's too much of a workload. I just think that you need to understand, I lay out every semester when I get my syllabi, my due dates, my assignments, and I just keep up with that. I would never have thought I'd be double majoring in college, but here I am, so.
James, I also feel the same way. I never knew I was going to consider a double major. I thought like it was crazy and I was like, I can never do it. But I actually sat down freshman year with my advisor and I was like, oh, I'm thinking about double majoring. And he was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then we sat down and we constructed a schedule for me for like the next 4 years of my like college career. So I know what classes I'm going to take next semester, the semester after that, until I graduate, which is amazing for me just because like I like knowing what I'm going to be doing in the future. And addressing the question about like, do the majors have to be connected? I don't think so, because one of my closest friends in the chemistry major, she's actually a chemistry and theology major, and that's like an arts major and a science major. And those are theology, especially at a Catholic university, is going to be pretty intense. So she's able to manage it. It's just, you just have to put in the time to talk about this with both of your advisors, because if you're double majoring, you're likely to have 2 advisors, and they probably communicate with each other, so it'll work out. And it also depends on how many credits you come in with and what electives you have to take. So it's not really like a one size fits all answer kind of thing. It's kind of like, it depends on what you want to do and what you might want to look into.
Great, that's really helpful. Thank you so much, both of you. So this question's a little bit more general, so maybe a couple people can chime in, but what's the biggest class that you've ever taken within sciences? What are class sizes like, kind of going through your career here?
There are 3 classes: bio, chem, and physics. We have our 2 largest classes are basically, constricted by the size of the lecture halls that we have. So I think it's about 60 students. I think Sarah touched on it earlier. You will meet 3 times a week to have class, answer questions. I've never felt intimidated or overlooked in that class because we do then go into a 4th class of recitations where it's 10 to 15 students and the professor picks up your name very quickly. So yeah, probably about 60 students would be the biggest class. I would say normally you may have between 18 and 24 for like my class sizes, maybe even smaller if it's a niche subject.
Yeah, I can also jump onto that. So in the chemistry department, we are smaller than biology, I know that, but there are about 20 freshman chemistry majors. And like James was saying, we all meet 3 times a week for lecture and recitation. And then our lab, which is usually correlates to the lecture portion that we're learning that semester. We're fortunate that we are able to be in the lab every week this semester. I saw that question on there somewhere, how it's working with COVID. But
Take it
we're
away.
fortunate enough, in the chemistry department where we split in half. So there's usually about 10 kids in the room at a time, and you're able to social distance, you stay safe, and you still get the hands-on experience that you need.
I just wanted to add on to Jessica, like the chem department is definitely smaller than the bio department, but I'm a sophomore chemistry major and we actually only have 10 sophomore chemistry majors. So I love to see that we're growing. It's great. But as a chemistry major, your major specific labs will be most likely be every week. And we're lucky enough to have 2 sections of the lab. So like my lab is just 5 people and it's absolutely amazing. I have the best time in it. But even the Gen Chem classes and the Gen Bio classes will have lab in person. It kind of depends on the professor, but I know I think if not all of the Gen Chem, like whether it be like general organic chemistry or general chemistry, they have lab, but sometimes it's like every other week with different groups. So they're smaller groups. So I think Villanova is doing an amazing job having lab in person. And I just think like being in person for lab is just such a blessing at this time. So yeah, it's been great.
Almost all of the chemistry labs are in person this semester, despite COVID. Chemistry may smell bad, but the ventilation is excellent in our building. So that helps us with some virus safety.
I know, so I took physics in the fall and we were online for the lab just because it wasn't there was no way to accommodate all the students. So we did virtual labs and that was fine. We used data from past years and I think that I really appreciate them trying, and they definitely, the physics department put their best foot forward for providing the general physics opportunity. I would hope that maybe next year by the time you guys come, the virus is figured out and there are more opportunities beyond the chemistry department, for environmental science or for bio or for whatnot, to have more in person. But the online labs, I think are, you're not in person, but you're pretty close.
Can I mute myself? Great. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Glad to hear you can still have some in-person opportunities. That is great. So this next question is for our exploratory sciences. And the question is, how do students focus their major through that more exploratory program? Chrissy, I think you're going to be the best person to answer this.
Yeah, so I'll be your advisor if you're exploratory sciences. So you're going to sit down and talk with me, and we're going to talk about everything, right? And so not just your potential major, but what's your long-term career goals? And we're going to figure out together the classes that you might be most interested in, as well as some other interests to explore, right? So a majority of the students, but not all of them, will come in and also say that they're interested in pre-health and they're just not sure which avenue to go. So that's when I ring up Anne and we'll talk together, and the 2 of us together will work out a schedule with the student. So if you know you're interested in the sciences, but you're positive you also want to go to medical school, we'll add in a class for you that would benefit the med school pre-health track, like psychology or sociology, something that you'll also need for pre-health while you're still exploring your science major. I'll be checking in with you a lot, right? So around midterms, we'll check in. At the end of the semester, we'll check in and just email frequently and just get a feel for how you're liking the classes, how you're liking the topics. And we're just going to go with what's working for you, what's not working for you, and based on your interests and success and people you've chatted with. So say you're in biology, but you said, I really liked the chemistry unit. Well, I'll introduce you to the chemistry department, and they are always more than happy to sit down and talk with a student about what that could look like and if you're a good fit for that program. So exploratory sciences, you'll find your way by just sampling a lot, telling me your interests, and I'll put you where you need to be and introduce you to other people along the way to help you really carve out your path.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Chrissy. I'm ready to sign up for a meeting with you.
Perfect.
Explore my options. So we have a couple questions here about environmental science. So one relates to internships. Maybe we can touch on the internship question first. I feel like a few of you probably have had an internship in that phase right now. And then the other question, well, let's start with that. I think James, you look ready to go.
Which one do you want me to answer?
Do you
want me to touch internships,
environmental
or
science
do you want me to do
first?
environmental science?
Let's talk about environmental science first, then move on to internships.
Right on. So I would say first off, if you want to get a look for what a traditional schedule will look like, I know on Villanova's website, Matt, you should be able to find it very easily. It has, class lists, schedules of what is going to be offered in the coming years. So they're very, excited to get people excited about their classes. Environmental science is a great hybrid of policy and management with the science aspect of the lab and technical skills of field work and what that might encompass. I think it's a great opportunity to get a hybrid of biochem, physics. Most of those are a foundation to our program. I have to be honest, I was too scared to commit to chem, so I decided to look at environmental science, and it has just been awesome. It's a very small knit community. I think our incoming, when I was a freshman, we had about 20 kids. It's actually grown, so we love to see that. And I am on a first name basis with all my professors. I would have been working in a lab this semester, but unfortunately with COVID, that just wasn't an opportunity. But I know in our department, all the professors have a specialty, whether it be, wetlands, water management, atmospheric sciences. There's a diversity of, interests and skills from PhD and masters to provide that kind of thirst for, what is it you want to do with the environment. When I came in, I didn't really know what I want to do with the environment. I still kind of don't, but I at least have a better idea. And I guess I can tail that into the idea of internships. I think, the experience from having internships at Villanova has really guided both the classwork that I do and tailoring that to my interests, as well as, also crossing things off my list of like, I don't want to sit in a lab, or I do want to be out in the field. So if someone else wants to pick up internships and talk about their experiences, they can do that.
Great, thanks so much, James. Anyone want to talk about an internship a little bit? Anyone have we have another question related to, pre-med, pre-health sciences internships. And if you have any, stories that you could tell us about, students that have looked for those.
Sure. So in the Health Professions Advising Office, we have a lot of resources. So for one thing, we have a big alumni network, and there is something that all the students are familiar with called the shadowing binder, which is a binder, and it has information that has been shared with us by alumni and Villanova friends who are in health professions working and are eager to help Villanovans. So in this binder, you will find people from all kinds of health professions from all over the country, although they're mostly in the Northeast, because that's where we draw most of our students from. And you can flip through it and see what field they're in, what their specialty is, where they went to professional school, what kind of outreach they're willing to do with students, whether it's offering shadowing opportunities or just conversation, and how to contact them. So that's one big thing. We also, we have a lot of hospitals in Philadelphia. We have a small hospital that's practically walking distance from campus. It is walking distance unless you're somebody who doesn't like to walk. And then we have another one that's a bus ride down. And then we have the big ones in Center City. The Jefferson, UPenn, Drexel, you know, all of these schools down there, Temple. Many of them will have clinical research opportunities for students, and they let us know when they do. And we put it out on our weekly news feed, which is a newsletter that goes to all the pre-health students and tells them about events and opportunities that would be of interest to them. We also have our own ambulance service on campus, the VEMS, Villanova Emergency Medical Services. Students get their EMT certification and do work on campus. And you can also join, if you get certified, you can join the local ambulance companies off campus. We've had students do that as well. There are, what else? Trying to think. We also have the office, the Villanova University Office of Center for Research and Fellowship, which is an office on campus that is, their entire mission is to match students up with research opportunities on and off campus. I had a student a couple of years ago who got matched with a research program at Notre Dame, and she spent the summer at Notre Dame helping with research on macaque monkeys, and she was pre-med. And there's faculty on campus that are doing research, and a lot of the research is in areas that are connected to medicine. So there's a lot of opportunities, and we work with you to help you figure out how to find what you want, how to find what you need, and then we have a few leads to give you as well. So I hope that kind of covers most of it there.
So helpful, Anne. Thanks so much. And Kunj, I think you turned your mic on, so go ahead.
Like speaking on the shadowing experiences, like this past winter break, I'm pre-dental, so I was shadowing at a few offices, and you know, it was an array, so it was like an orthodontics, a general dentist, and an oral surgeon. And the office manager at the oral surgeon place actually like gave me a dental assistant position for like the summer. So I wouldn't say necessarily it's an internship, but it's definitely more experience and something that I can learn from, as far as something that's I'm interested in, especially like, you know, for, you know, if everyone's trying to do something that you're getting experience in, definitely start out with shadowing first and build connections. And then if they're really interested in, you know, how passionate you are in the field, they definitely might look into hiring you as like, you know, a receptionist or even a dental assistant or a medical assistant or even a scribe. Like it just varies. It depends on how interested you are and how many connections you can really make from shadowing, I would say.
And I would add one more thing. That, thank you, Kunj. That reminded me of another whole area I forgot about. We bring speakers to campus. We bring Villanova alumni. Some of them are doing very exciting things in healthcare, and they come and they speak to students. When we're face to face, they speak in nice small groups. It's a great networking opportunity. I also teach a 1-credit class every semester where I bring in 8 professionals from less well-known health professions, because sometimes students figure out that the one they thought they wanted to do is not what they really want to do, and they want to see what else is out there, or they're just curious about what else is out there. Every single one of those, I believe, as far as I can remember, offers to the students to stay in contact with them and offers shadowing experiences or conversation or connections. So one thing I'm often telling students when they come in as freshmen is go to these professional development events. You may feel like you're busy, but do make time to go hear these speakers, to make these connections, because you never know what's going to happen. You could get a really nice opportunity out of doing that. That's kind of a life skill too.
Yeah, my mom always says that, you know, your tuition pays more than just the classes that you go to. And one area that I know some students use, some students, you know, don't really know about too much, is our career services. That really sets you up for success with finding internships, landing those internships, and continuing those relationships that you build. I know Villanova alumni, that is one thing that every time I end my tour, I talk about our alumni and how great those relationships are. Because they want to see Villanovans succeed. Whether you're a current Wildcat or a graduated Wildcat, they will always make the time to answer your questions and help you. So the career services, they will sit down and either match you with people in the industry, help you with, cold calling on LinkedIn, or sending out those emails to the industries that you're interested in, along with prepping with interviews. Right now there's mock interviews because we can't be in person. We're able to like watch yourself, record yourself. We have platforms that help with resume development, cover letters, and anything else you would need to get your foot in the door for these opportunities. I have a current internship that was through the career services. They have Villanova specific internship platforms. So it's almost like a LinkedIn where you can, or like an Indeed.com, where Villanova alumni will say, hey, we're hiring Villanova, like, can you push this out to your students? Because they know how hard we work and how the results we give. So I found my opportunity, and I want to say it was kind of a leg up, being from Villanova, they recognize, who we are. And yeah.
Wonderful. Great Career Center plug. I love it. I think I camped out there my junior year. They do great work. So this is kind of a fun one. So students, this is going to be a big one for you. Are there any activities related to sciences outside the classroom? Do you get involved kind of, outside your schoolwork with the sciences?
I can answer this one because it was actually something I was going to plug earlier, but in addition to the health professions advising resources, there are also pre-health organizations on campus. So depending on what you're interested in, I know just off the top of my head, there's pre-dental, pre-optometry, pre-PA, pre-med, of course. I'm a member of the pre-med club, and what's cool about those ones is they're student run, which is nice. You get to meet students who are along the same path as you, at various points. A lot of them have peer advising programs. So I'm a peer advisor for the pre-med club. And that's nice because upper class students, when I was an advisee, they could tell me what courses to take, maybe give me study tips, things like that, kind of insider info that you might not get from going online or like looking up a professor, things like that. So those are great resources. They'll bring in, I know for the pre-med club, they bring in speakers. We've had panels on what to do for a gap year, volunteer opportunities, things like that. So they're really nice because they work in tandem with the health professions advising office to give you even more opportunities than the advising office. Like, they work really well together. So that's been a resource that I've enjoyed because it also is a social outlet, especially during times like this. It's nice to see faces on Zoom or things like that. So yeah.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Anybody else have an activity they want to sponsor for the next few minutes?
I was just going to add on to what Sarah just said. Like with the pre-dental club, they don't really necessarily bring speakers, but they do bring like admissions representatives from like dental schools, which is nice because you can talk to a student and like their admissions director like on a Zoom call, and like you take advantage of the opportunity because not a lot of students actually go to those. So you can be like one of the 5 students there, and they can actually remember your name in the future, hopefully. So I guess that's a cool opportunity that like by joining these pre-health clubs, you're getting exposure to like seeing what the dental school or med school is like. And the process along that is really just taught by like upperclassmen, and of course like the pre-health advisors. They give you great information on like what you should be doing and what you should not be doing at the same time. And I think it's just really depending on like how advantageous you are of the opportunities that are offered. You just have to reach out and find them, and if you take advantage of them, they will definitely be in your favor at the end of the day.
Great, thank you so much. So this is a question related to teaching assistants. Do we have teaching assistants at Villanova? How are they kind of factored into this equation, for lack of a better term? Maybe my faculty members can touch on TAs and how we use them here at Villanova.
I'll chime in for chemistry. So we do have teaching assistants, but in a limited sense. So if you take a larger general chemistry class, there might be one professor that's in charge of 30 or 50 students, and then we'll have 2 or 4 teaching assistants, pretty much to keep everyone from spilling sulfuric acid on themselves. So there's never any teaching required of the teaching assistants, but it's more to answer your questions as you're going through some of the laboratories that we're doing, and to make sure everyone's safe.
Yeah, biology is really similar from what I've seen.
But if students are interested by their junior and senior year, I'm looking at you, Eileen and Jessica, then it's a pretty sweet paying job, if you're a senior chemistry major, to help out with one of these.
I'm actually a TA for Gen Chem 2 right now, so I can attest. It's a fun position.
Oh, that's right. I should have remembered that. I'm like, I knew your name, but I forgot. I assigned you that. So
Yeah,
you guys get paid a lot for those. I think we can kind of sit like, yeah.
it's a fun job, and it's nice because I went through, like, I did the experiments 2 years ago, so when the students are going through, it's crazy how much you remember, but it's nice to kind of be able to guide them through it and say, well, I actually did this, so I can help you out with it.
I actually, my chemistry classes, the TAs are actually grad students, but I've had such great experiences with all my TAs. Like I've always, like, if I had a question, like it's easy. I feel like as much as it is easy to talk to my professor about questions, sometimes it's even easier to talk to your TAs about like questions where you're like, oh, like, I don't know if this is valid as a question, but like, I'll just knock on my TA's like door and be like, hey, I have a question. I'll sit there and we'll talk about like certain like issues in the lab and everything. So I think our TAs are like absolutely amazing. And I have a lot of friends who are TAs, like undergrad TAs, and they're having a blast too.
Great. Thank you so much. So we're really close to the end of our time. So with our remaining few minutes, we've had a couple questions about kind of what you do for fun. Do you have time for fun? And what your favorite science class at Villanova was. So students, we're going to go back to popcorn. If you could, tell me your favorite thing to do that's not science, your favorite thing to do that's just for fun, and your favorite science class. I think that'd be a really great way to kind of wrap things up. So we're going to start with Sarah. Can you start us off?
Yeah, so I can start with my favorite science class, which was definitely animal physiology. I took it last year in the spring, and even when we got sent home, like despite all of that, it's definitely been my favorite class. It was I like to call it a how stuff works class. So I feel like I look at my body differently now. Suddenly I'm amazed that everything is working all at once the way that it's working. So that was definitely my favorite science. And then outside of class, I'm a member of the club swim team. I'm actually the VP. And I think that that's probably been like my biggest outlet on campus and home. I joined from the beginning of freshman year. So club sports, things like that. That's definitely what I like to do in my free time. And I will popcorn Kunj.
I would also say I'm currently taking animal phys, but that is also currently my favorite class because it's just the way it's structured is really intriguing, and it's really like, as Sarah said, you learn about a lot about like random things that you didn't know, and the way it's taught by Dr. Stevens is just really impressive, and I enjoy the class heavily. And besides, academic work, I am involved in like SMOSA, which is like an ethnic organization. I'm the president, so like a lot of my time outside of academics is like dedicated into setting up events and panels and things for general body members in the club. And besides that, I enjoy playing tennis and just hanging out with friends and just, enjoying the time I am outside of class as well. And I will popcorn it to Eileen.
So my favorite science class is actually like my organic chemistry lab. And a lot of people are like, oh, why do you even like organic? Like, why do you like orgo? Like orgo sucks. But I actually really, really enjoy it. Like, I think organic chemistry is like so fun, but it's just so great because like we have so many like opportunities to like do like these cool reactions in orgo. So it's my favorite class by far, but I'm only a sophomore. So maybe I'll have more classes to like in the future, but outside of class, I actually work part-time off campus. So a lot of my time outside of class does get consumed by me working off campus, but I still find time to get dinner with my friends. Not right now, but like before, I still had time to get dinner with my friends, go into like Philly to get a Philly cheesesteak, go to like King of Prussia Mall. Like I always had time to do stuff with my friends. So It was great. And James?
I would say my favorite class I've taken was last semester. It was called remote sensing, and we looked at image interpretation along with satellites. So with my double major of geography, that is definitely something that I'm looking forward to exploring more, just with how our world is trending and growing populations. Outside of school, schoolwork, I definitely draw a line of like, I commit my time to school, but at the same time, like I'm a college student, so I am involved with student government. I sit on the board of trustees along with sitting with the provost. So it's been an incredible opportunity to get involved and look at the school and give student input to how to benefit the student experience. In addition to that, I'm involved with Special Olympics. I know that's a question on here. So every year there's a Special Olympics program we put on, the largest in the nation. So we engage with athletes all across Pennsylvania, and we engage with the local community. Most people, I would say, on our campus gets involved in one way or another. There's leadership positions, and then there's just general volunteers if that's something that you feel more called to. So there's plenty of opportunity for service organizations. Mine is Special Olympics, and my other one is student government, but there's also a plethora of other opportunities. And with that, I'm going to kick it off to Jessica.
All right, last but not least, my favorite science class in my limited experience thus far was definitely the organic chemistry lecture I took first semester. If you come in as a declared chemistry major, that is most likely the class that you'll take. And Dr. Paul was incredibly dynamic and engaging, and especially in this current climate, very concerned with how we were doing as people, not just as students, which was fantastic. And the information, he made it fun, which was great. And it was very reassuring to be like, all right, I made the right choice. I'm in the right place. We're good to go. And I'm excited for the next 3 years. Outside of the classroom, I also got involved with Special Olympics this fall, and it was a fantastic way to meet people and to get involved on campus, even in a COVID environment. It was great.
Wonderful. Well, we're about 3 minutes past our, end time. You had some wonderful questions. I know we didn't get to all of them, so please feel free to shoot us an email. Great one to use is questions@VUBlueKey. That's a great way to get in touch with current students. So questions@VUBlueKey.com. Feel free to shoot those remaining questions there. Once again, congratulations on being accepted to Villanova University. As you can tell by everyone here, we are so passionate about this school and we love it so much. So thank you for spending the last hour with us. Panelists, thank you so much for being here. I know I learned a ton, I always do. Everyone be safe out there, enjoy your evening. Bees up, go Cats.